Hello and welcome back. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. Now, I've already done some prediction videos regarding the upcoming qualifying round series between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Edmonton Oilers. And those videos used science and facts to help predict this series. But the one key thing they were missing was opinions. And that's really what matters. So to help me with this, I reached out to a couple fellow NHL hockey YouTubers to get their opinions, and they were gracious enough to share them for us on this video. So let's not delay any more, and let's start off with my namesake out west. Here is Canuck Clay.
Hi, my name is Clay Emo. I'm a Vancouver Canucks vlogger, parody song creator, and season ticket holder. And I was thrilled when my namesake Clay asked me to share my thoughts on the upcoming Edmonton Oilers Chicago Blackhawks play-in series. And this is a funky one for me to talk about because I wasn't a fan of the Blackhawks, understandably so, about a decade ago, but now I'm fine, I'm over that, everything's good. And I'm not a fan of the Edmonton Oilers to this day. And I really think that this series really hinges on the health of Corey Crawford. If he plays, I really think it's a coin flip. If he doesn't play, I think it's the Edmonton Oilers that have the advantage. Up front, you know you have Draisaitl, you know you have McDavid, and then Nugent Hopkins, but it actually drops off a little bit after that for Edmonton, where I do like Chicago's depth up front a little better. I'm a big Patrick Kane fan, despite what he did to the Canucks. I love Jonathan Toews, being from Canada, of course, and then even Alex DeBrincat, who I have in my fantasy pool, Kubalik, the all-star rookie, and then Saad, Strome. I think there's a lot of depth up front for Chicago. On the blue line, I do like the Edmonton Oilers defense more than I like the Chicago Blackhawks defense. I think the Oilers are a little more consistent, although both teams not really the gold standard when it comes to defensive play. And then in goal, I do think if Crawford plays, that's a huge advantage over the tandem of Koskinen and Smith for the Oilers. I know Chicago Blackhawks fans are really anxious to see if Crawford will be indeed able to play. Where I do think Edmonton has a huge advantage, though, is on special teams. They have the #1 power play in the league against the #9 penalty kill for Chicago. Not bad. But then Chicago's power play is only 28th best in the league, and Edmonton Oilers' penalty kill is second in the league. So the Oilers are #1 in power play and #2 on the penalty kill. And I think ultimately that might be a big obstacle to overcome for the Blackhawks. So there we go. If Crawford plays, it's a coin flip. But if he doesn't play, I'm going Oilers in 4. Take care, and God bless.
So it looks like my namesake north of the border is picking the Oilers in 4, especially if Crawford can't play. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it's his opinion. Let's see if we can get a better opinion. Let's move over to a kid named Johnny over at Hottie Hockey.
Hey everyone, it's Johnny from Hottie Hockey, and I just want to say thank you to Clay for having me on. Don't mind the random jerseys in the back, just finished a whole bunch of content for the crazy draft lottery we witnessed. I honestly can't believe that happened, and that could definitely impact the Blackhawks Oilers series. I wouldn't say while they're playing, it's a best out of 5 series. I think this is going to be one of those series that are in question. I think obviously for people looking at the Oilers, they think they're the favorites. I think the Blackhawks have a lot of experience. When I'm looking at this team, I'm looking at Corey Crawford, who is going to be the starter. And when you look at the Edmonton Oilers, they have question marks in that. Is Mike Smith going to start? Is Koskinen going to start the series? And you have proven playoff performers. I mean, with the Edmonton Oilers, you're looking at Leon Draisaitl in his time in the playoffs. He performed. Connor McDavid, he performed. But with the Chicago Blackhawks, you have Johnny Toews, who you know is going to play. You have Patrick Kane, who you know is going to come to play. Will DeBrincat bounce back from, I would say, somewhat of a down season? You've got Dylan Strome. You've got experience on that back end. Calvin DeHaan coming back. Alex Nylander, Drake Caggiula healthy. There's so many aspects of this team that can show up to play. I will be realistic here and just, I have no bias. I'm looking on both sides. I do think the Edmonton Oilers might pull this out in 5 games. I'm just looking at the situation where I'm relying more on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl here. And I think the Oilers' depth did improve. They brought in Athanasiou. They brought in Tyler Ennis. I think their depth, that was a big question mark, improved. I think it's going to come down to goaltending, though. Who wins this series? If one of the 2 goalies in Edmonton can come to perform, I think I might give the Oilers the edge. But if not, Chicago could pull away with this series. So thank you for watching, and thank you to Clay, and definitely subscribe to him. I love the support I'm seeing in the hockey community, and hope to see all of you around. All right, peace out.
Ooh, some hope being thrown Chicago's way, some positive vibes. I'm feeling it. Nothing definitive, nothing overwhelming, but a little belief can go a long way. And I feel like we can build on it a little bit more with our next opinion coming from someone who probably doesn't like the Oilers all that much. Here is I Don't Give a Kachuk.
What's up, Clay? It's Paul from I Don't Give Jakubczak, and you hit me up in the Twitter DMs asking if I could hop on the video, so I had to dress up for the occasion. I got a Blackhawks jersey on. This is my little brother's. He's a Blackhawks fan, so maybe to fit the occasion for the Oilers Blackhawks series, I figured I'd get dressed up in something other than the Flames, because it's kind of all over the background, as you can see. But you wanted me to predict what I think is going to happen with this series. And for me, I think it really boils down to experience, right? Because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they're two huge superstars. They can light up the opposition, but you gotta remember who's in net. Corey Crawford. Corey Crawford's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's had a ton of playoff experience. If I'm the Oilers, I'm kind of looking at Crawford with a lot of uncertainty, thinking, well, you don't know if he's going to really show up like the vintage Crawford we see, or if he's still going to be a little iffy in net. And for me, really, I kind of like the Blackhawks as well. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, they're an underrated pick. A lot of people wouldn't really consider the Blackhawks a playoff contending team, but they're in the playoffs, they're in the mix, so as long as you're in the mix, everybody has a chance. And I think coming back, after a long break, things are going to be so different. I think you're going to see a lot of guys really break out in this series. One of the players I really see really breaking out in the playoffs is going to be Alex Nylander. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a very pivotal piece on the Blackhawks offense. And when you look at the Edmonton Oilers, we haven't really seen a lot of Andreas Athanasiou, and I'm really excited to see how he's going to do. I also want to see how Tyler Ennis is going to do. All the deadline acquisitions, because all the big guys in the acquisitions for the trade deadline, we haven't really got to see a lot of them. I think we only saw like 7 to 8 games out of them before the season ended, because technically they're still trying to fit in, right? So it's going to be interesting in that standpoint. But for me, my final prediction for the series is going to be 3-2 Edmonton. I do have it going the full length of the series, maybe some overtime. I think this is going to be one of the closest series we see in the playoffs, and I'm very excited. It can honestly go both ways or two when you look at it. Evenly contested teams in the end, because you have the playoff experience Chicago Blackhawks versus the highly powered Edmonton Oilers. It's gonna be interesting to watch. So I have the Oilers winning the series 3-2. And thanks for having me on, Clay. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, subscribe to Clay on YouTube if you're watching this right now. I'm on Jakubczak on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, involving me in this project, and I'll catch you next time.
Picking Edmonton as a Flames fan? That is a bold opinion. But I think one thing's for certain here. His opinion is his opinion, and he doesn't give a Kachuk. What do you think of it? Last but not least, let's move on to our final opinion. Let's hear from Top Shelf Hockey.
Hey everyone, Mike from Top Shelf Hockey here to give my prediction on the Hawks and Oilers play-in series coming up here soon. Now, I know Clay likely has mostly Hawks fans watching this channel in this video, but I unfortunately am going to have to pick the Oilers to win this short 5-game series. Now, it's a unique format, I know. Certainly some unique circumstances that we're seeing for the 2020 NHL playoffs, but everything I've seen so far and in training camps leads me to think that the Oilers and McDavid and Draisaitl are more than ready to go. They looked really good. I think the Oilers' depth on the wings has improved a lot over the past year. A lot of their defensemen are getting better. Some of their younger D, especially like Caleb Jones, Ethan Bear, they seem to be ready to take on bigger roles. Darnell Nurse has been strong back there. Obviously, the big question mark for me when it comes to the Oilers, the only concern I have is the consistent goaltending. Can Mikko Koskinen provide that? Will they have to turn to Mike Smith? That's certainly a question mark for me, but the big question mark for Chicago is also between the pipes. I mean, Corey Crawford, unfortunately, was deemed unfit to play for the beginning of camp, so that's a big question mark for me. Corey Crawford's had an excellent career, and when he's been on recently in the past year, he's been a solid goaltender still at this point in his career. They have some really solid guys in Toews and Kane, Kubalik, lots of veteran leadership in Chicago. I think to have a real good shot to win, they're going to have a goalie who can steal some games here from the Oilers, and they can maybe squeak out some lower scoring affairs, and I just don't see the Blackhawks having the ability to do that right now. So I do have to pick the Oilers in this one. But you know what? This is a unique series, and the Chicago, by losing the series, they have an opportunity to go in and have a shot at first overall to draft Alexei Lafreniere. I mean, what kind of turn of events would that be if you lost the series but got won that draft lottery for first overall? Would that not be spectacular? Can you imagine Lafreniere going to Chicago? You get him on the wing, potentially longer term, with a guy like Kirby Dach, who's looking to be a pretty awesome young hockey player himself, I mean, really, that would not be a bad thing at all. It might be what's best for the organization, in fact. So that's my prediction.
Ooh, another pick for the Oilers. Although, I must admit, kind of liking that scenario where the Blackhawks get the first overall pick. Not gonna lie. So in the end, it looks like the facts and science skew more towards the Blackhawks, but opinions are skewing more towards the Edmonton Oilers. No matter who you think will win this series and move on to the actual 16-team playoffs, one thing is for certain, and that is it's good to have hockey back. I want to thank all of these YouTubers for spending the time to share their opinions for this video. Please go and check out their channels, subscribe to them. I'll have a link to their channels down in the description. Check them out. I'm sure if you search for their names, they'll pop up as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to see your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.